You are source energy in a human body. You are an extension of this source energy, and you still have a connection to this source energy while you're in this body. For when you decide to come into this body, not all of you came. You came from the non-physical. And when you did decide to come into this body, you came for joy, you came for freedom, and you came for growth. And your manifestations are about that triad of intentions. You came here to create, you came here to have fun. And when you decide to come, when you did come, not all of you came. Some of you remained, and that is what's called your inner being, who you really are. That's who you really are. So no conversation is ever, no moment is ever complete without the acknowledgement that you really are 2 points of attraction. So when we're talking to you, when you're listening to this video, we're not just talking about you in your flesh, bone, and blood body. We're talking about you in terms of this inner being who has kept up to date with all of the desires that you have wanted, and as a result of keeping up with all the desires has created this vortex. So this vortex is brimming and it's vibrating right now, and it is a reality right now. And the real question is, are you a match to the vortex version of what you want, or are you a match to the current version, meaning the what is version, meaning that the devoid of source energy, the devoid of happiness version right now, the what is current, the reality that you have right now, the bank balance that you have right now? What are you more connected to? You see, manifesting is a very natural thing, for the manifestations are already happening. You came here, and this is the thing, the manifestations, the desires are being born. Everyone has desire. Your desires are being born. But the question is, are you keeping up with them? And that's why emotions are so amazing. You see, everything that you want has already vibrationally happened. Everything that your life has caused you to decide that I want this. This is something that would be good for me to have. It has already vibrationally happened. So the real manifestation has already happened. Your desires are real. They're a real reality. They are real. And they're not real in the sense where they're a reality that you can see right now physically. Because when you think of a real reality, you just think of a reality that you can see, smell, taste, touch. But we're talking about real. What you talk about real as just being observable with your five senses is so much more beyond, because this reality is so much more beyond than just your five senses. And that's because when you are looking at this reality with your five senses, that's your vibrational interpretation. It's all about your interpretation. So what we're saying is you can expand your vibrational interpretation to include the vibrational version, the sixth sense, your emotions, this vibrational world, because you are creating this vibrational world, and this vibrational world does precede all manifestations. And so in the vibrational form, in the vibrational state, in the vibrational level, if you can be satisfied with your desire, if you can think about your desire and feel good about it, because you're not disappointed that it's not here absent right now, because you understand that the negative emotion that you feel is not because you don't have your desires, because you're not looking at what you want out of the eyes of your source energy. Because that's what this is all about. You know, manifesting is a very easy thing because the desires happen naturally, and all of you are born with a guidance system. So all of you know how to take the journey. All of you know how to track your progress. Your eyes, your senses can't track the progress in the right way, because when you take score of your reality right now and you look around and you take score of how much you have, then you come to the conclusion, I don't have anything. I don't have what I want. My manifestations are not here. They're absent. And that's the thing. We're saying you're so close to your manifestations. And we don't mean close in terms of time and space, in terms of physical distance, in the same way that you would be from this point to the other. What we're really talking about is the vibrational closeness. You're so vibrationally close to your desires popping, meaning you're so close to being steadily in a vibration of allowing your desire that it's ready for you, that it's all going to happen. And you just want to not take score. Everyone offers all of their vibration. Well, most of their vibration by looking at what is, because of what is. That's what they offer their vibration about. What is, what has happened, and what is will always get in the way of your manifestations. All of your manifestations have already become. They're being held for you. And the thing about your inner being is that your inner being that's who you really are. And no conversation is never complete, never exactly complete without acknowledging that you have an inner being, which means that you're not here doing this all alone. You're not here to prove worthiness. You're not here to work as hard as you can, because the more hard you work, the more price you pay, the bigger the price that you pay, the more people look at you and see that you're worthy, because you're not the only one in this. You're not just a human. You are actually non-physical energy. You have the access to the energy that creates the worlds. And so while you are standing right here where you are, everything that you want has already vibration become. And the greatest thing of all is that while we're talking about tuning in and allowing, and you getting a beat on your desire, and you getting and practicing the vibration that will allow you to manifest everything that you want, your inner being is still there. Your desires are not forgotten by your inner being. You see, we're saying you can forget about the physical manifestation right now, because the physical manifestation, wanting it to be a reality right now, kind of gets in the way of you actually being able to stay on the channel long enough that you get inspiration, that you get ideas, that the manifestation happens right before your eyes. Because if there's something that you want and you're not receiving it, you're not experiencing it right now, then what that means is you're not a vibrational match to your desire. You're not a steady vibrational match. You could be sometimes, but you're not there most of the times. And think about what your emotions are telling you, because you can't do that thing that slows down your manifestations without feeling negative emotion. And so negative emotion is the best thing ever, because all negative emotion is saying is there's some tuning that could happen. There's some tuning that you could do. And the tuning that you could do is seeing this, or getting in the position, or getting better up to speed with how your inner being sees it, because you're meant to see through the eyes of your inner being. And we know that sounds very far-fetched, and it sounds almost like a fairy tale, but it is the basis of, it's the laws that govern your universe and our universe, and the non-physical and the physical. Because this is the thing, you really are source energy, and you really have an inner being. And the thing about your inner being is that your inner being never forgets about your desires. So when the resonance with your inner being, meaning when you think about the thought, or when you dream the dream, and you're not thinking about how much physical manifestation can I get out of this. Instead, you're thinking, how does it feel? What is the resonance? When the resonance with your inner being, meaning you and the resonance that comes from when you and your inner being think about the subject in the same way, when you have the same opinions, that meshing together, that blending, that feeling of elation, satisfaction, passion, that's the real prize. Because when that's the real prize, when the emotion of resonance with your inner being is a real prize, then guess what? Now you're more able to perceive your manifestations. Because your manifestations, there's no assertion. No one is bringing things into your experience. No one is taking them away. It's all up to your perception. It's all about how much can you perceive in this now moment. So you have to recognize your desire. You have to think about it more. You have to think about it more from a place of trying to use your guidance system, because you have a guidance system that will literally tell you what to do. Because step 1 and 2 have already happened. And so step 1 is you asked, and step 2 is it was given to you by source. And that's how you create manifestations. And step 3 is that's your job. You have to allow. And we're saying your emotions are your key to your manifestations, because when you use your eyes right now, you can't see your manifestation. So you're going to say inaccurately that it's not here, but your emotions will always, because they're so sophisticated, will tell you, no, your desire is here. You just can't see it yet. But that doesn't mean that it's not here, because what's real doesn't only necessarily mean your 5 senses. What's real, because here's the thing, since you're 2 point of attractions, what's real to your inner being really matters, because that's your other point of attraction. That's what your emotions are about. And so since your inner being is vibrating here with you right now, since your inner being has an opinion on every single thought that you ever think right now, down to this last second, then that means that how your inner being sees things, your inner being's perspective really matters, because that's literally the basis of your guidance system. So we're saying if you want to be happy, you have to see your desires as the current reality, because that's what makes the manifestation come. That's what makes the path unfold steadily. Because what doesn't make the path unfold steadily is thinking that you need to get over there. Because many of our friends, they think, okay, I don't feel good, and if I could just experience the presence of my desire instead of the absence, then I would feel better. But that's not what your emotions are about. Your emotions are because, oh, you don't have any money. Your emotions are not because this person was rude to me. Your emotions are because in this moment you're holding a vibration, a thought, which equals your point of attraction, that doesn't mesh with your inner being's perspective. And that's evidenced to you in the form of negative emotion. So what we're really saying is your negative emotion is your sign that everything that you want already exists. But the question is, can you tune to it right now? And that's literally the only question that really matters. Can I tune to the presence of my desire? No, not all at once. And maybe not today. Because when I think about my desire being vibrationally here right now, I go off on old tangents. I talk about, why I haven't had it in so long. I talk about where I've been. I talk about the probability based on where I've been. I fight for my limitations. I talk about the absence. I do everything except for allowing. And we're saying, well, now you're not going to do that anymore without knowing that you're doing that, because you're experiencing your negative emotion that ensues after all of those thoughts. A thought that feels good will always net you something that you want, and a thought that doesn't feel good will never net you net you something that you want. And so that's really important to understand, because when you understand that, then now you have a guidance system that really works for you. And isn't that interesting? Because here you are on the ride of your lifetime, and you're looking around saying, I don't see anything that I want to manifest. I'm not doing a very good job. And all the while you're feeling negative emotion, and your negative emotion is literally telling you that because of the perspective that you're holding right now, your inner being is not agreeing. Your inner being says, we see it, and you're saying, I don't see it. And so that's what the tug of war is that you set all this into motion. Your inner being has already become your desire. And you know what? Your inner being is standing right here with you right now. So how do you factor in, when we talk about vibrational resonance, when we talk about just feeling good, how do we factor in manifestation. When do we factor in manifestation? Because when humans think about manifestations, what they're really thinking about is effort. How can I push this along further? How can I make this happen to me faster? But the thing is, the reason why the resonance with your inner being isn't enough, the feeling, the way that the feeling of satisfaction. The feeling of satisfaction is standing at any moment in time and looking at this subject the way that your inner being sees it, which is that is prospering, that is which is going very well. It's happening. It's here right now. It's a reality. It is a reality. It's a vibrational reality, and a reality just the same. You have to look at your vibrational reality with your eyes, your vibrational eyes, not your physical eyes. You have to look at them with your emotions, your emotional eyes. You have to look at them with feeling. You have to talk about it with feeling and emotion, because you can't see it yet. But the fact that you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not a reality. It just means that you're not able to interpret it fully into a physical reality right now, because that vibration hasn't matured enough. The thing is, it's your job to make sure it matures. And the way that you do that is don't talk smack against it. Don't think in contradiction to your own desire. And now you know, negative emotion is telling you everything that you need to know. That's the thing, is that negative emotion tells you everything that you need to know. And so the only thing that would be detrimental to your experience is that when a thought feels negative, instead of being like, oh, this thought feels negative, what does that mean? You go along with it. You think about it. You gestate about it. You mull over it, because that, you know what it is? It's real. That thought is real. It's real. It's factual. It happened to people. I should think about it. I'm thinking about all the things that happened to me before, and maybe there's some truth to this. And so we say that that will never work for you. You can never look back, because now you understand more than ever that who you are is 2 point of attractions. Who you are is source energy, and your inner being really, really matters, because no conversation is complete without your inner being factored in. So we want you to factor in your inner being. We want you to realize that you have another point of attraction that you could be getting so much more from. And so as you reach for your inner being, and as you understand that, you just have to care about the connection between you and you, so that when you're thinking about all your manifestations, instead of allowing the physical manifestation to be a prize, you're allowing the resonance with source. You're allowing how you feel, because you understand, I care about how I feel. You care about how you feel, and since you care about how you feel, you're more willing to think thoughts that feel better to you, and tell better feeling stories, and look for the positive aspects, rather than telling a story that doesn't feel good, and rather than being realistic. Because that will never work for you, because you can't talk about what you want or talk about what you don't want and ever get what you do want. It's against the law of the universe. You have to think of it as already real, because it is real, and you have to look at it with your emotions. And as you tap into the vibrational essence of it, there's no absence in your there's an absence of a resistance in your vibration. And since there's an absence of resistance in your vibration, then do you know what happens? Your experience happens really fast. You experience the interesting experience of feeling like you're almost, catching a wave, and you're just flowing right by. You're flowing and enjoying. But the thing is, there's no effort, because in the vortex there's no feeling of effort, because in the vortex, and this is what makes the vortex something that's really interesting, because the vortex is a state, and as you match your frequency to the vortex, then the first thing that you feel is good. You feel good. You feel the emotion of it, and your inner being's in your vortex. So now you want to feel good, because you have to feel good. You have to be a whole being. Isn't that interesting? Because many people are like, well, I can't feel good until I have my manifestation. But we're saying, but how you feel your emotions have never been about your manifestations. Your emotions are just about, how does this thought drive with my inner being's perspective of the same thought? How does this thought work with my inner being? How does this thought? And so that's the thing, is that you have to accept that you're really 2 point of attractions, and that you can't keep splitting yourself. You can't be separating yourself from source, because you are source. You're not working to be source. You already are source. But the question is, are you feeling good? Because when you're feeling good, then you really are source. And when you really are source, then you're more able to perceive the frequency of your desire. And as you practice the frequency of your desire, as you practice a vibration of allowing that allows you to have your manifestation, guess what happens? It must be yielded to you. Because as you practice a vibration that allows your manifestation unfolds right in front of your eyes. But the thing is, your manifestation, it doesn't feel like a big deal anymore. It just feels normal, because you're a creator, and everything just works out for you. And then people look around, they look at you, and they say, what magic do you have? And you know what you say? You're like, I'm just source energy, and I care more about how I feel than telling the truth. I care about how I feel. I tune to the reality, the true reality, the vibrational reality. So when I think about the absence, I say, hey, that's negative emotion, so I know what that means. My negative emotion has guided me. So when I look around in my life right now and I say, hey, this subject is not working for me, my negative emotion tells me that it really is working with me. It is working for me. So instead of trying to go off on tangents, instead of trying to prove to my inner being that I'm more right, I just go with my inner being. I enjoy the feeling of vibrational resonance.